Are we live?
All right, we're live.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we've already got a bunch of folks in here.
Nice.
Who all is in
How's it
the
going, everybody?
house? The one-eyed cat was here early. One-eyed cat's been hanging out here for almost an hour already.
Who
He
was
got
first?
front row
Who was
seat.
first?
Well, I don't know because they drop off after a while. I know that Bondo Billy had stopped by. Unfinished Project had stopped by. They like to sneak in, just see if I'm going to ambush them sometimes. Big Mike's Hoopty Barn is here. Wendy English. Unfinished Project says Dark Sport. Imagine that. Twisted Mopar Garage Dennis is here. Buff Del Campo. Chaos Garage 89. I like that name. Hey, there's Track and Travel with Rick. Look at that. He's in two places at once. That's pretty awesome. First Responder Garage is in the house. Yep, this is going to be a good live here. Colleen Tebow says she'll be home in 15 minutes, but that was 6 minutes ago. So if nothing bad happens, she'll be home in 9. Ooh. Technician Troy Auto Salvage Outlaws, Justin Hill, glad you're here. All right. And I'll get caught up. I see NSB Custom Cars. The guys from Florida are in the house. JB's Little Shop, Pure Pontiac. My mom is here. Brian Beeler. Brian Beeler had a roundup that he did on the Boat Tail Rivieras a night or 2 or 3 ago. And I don't know what it is, because if you'd told me, hey, do you want to watch a premiere on Boat Tail Rivieras, it wouldn't have been anything I would have probably planned to watch. But I started watching. I couldn't stop. I thought it was too interesting seeing these things spread out all over the country in various conditions and states of preservation. It's just interesting. I just couldn't change the channel.
Yeah, very cool.
I don't know. I like what he does. I think he just makes it very entertaining. Lunar Outlaws Garage. Funny timing. I just did a community poll about a 72 satellite. Why don't you poll this chat, Brian? There's Charger 383 Mopar William. William, you going to double down and get the bracket this year? Buck Does It is here. Dean Stevenson, all the way from the other side of the earth. RC Industry. RC Industry was our very first no-name 500 channel to make it, by the way. Fun fact about him. Wow. Rescued and Restored Garage. Danny Boyd is here. Slant Daily. 2 places at once. Very impressive. All right, guys. Well, we got a good crowd in the house. So the panel here tonight is, as our thumbnail says, we've got Jeray Racing, Rick and Ricky, which you'll see as Jeray Racing and Track and Travel with Rick. So if you see him in the comments, that would be Rick. Awesome. And you would not know from their background, but they're probably pretty famous for their bright, like sunglasses, bright green Duster. And their bracket racing acumen. So we've also got Professor P. You guys know him from Wednesday night Tech Talk with Dallas, and sometimes I'm his interim host. And all the good things he does over at Slant Daily Garage, like do all kinds of things people don't think are possible, like putting giant 4 barrels on slant 6s and whatnot,
making them run.
And later in the show, we're gonna have John Cope in here. He's going to come in probably second half or whenever he wants to, but he's having too much fun. He is finishing up his prototype, first of who knows how many E4OD Ford valve body. Oh. It is the world's only E4OD completely manual, all gears manual on the shifter valve body. Has some really neat features. It's the only one in the world, and he says it's done now, so probably within a week he'll be test driving it, I guess, at the rate he's going. But he's been hammering on that today. He'll be in here a little bit later.
Awesome.
So, Professor P, if this $700 Ford doesn't work, Unfinished Project is driving. Unfinished Project, we're going to be having a giveaway a little bit later in the show, so you might need to get the fingers moving fast. All right, so one thing we wanted to get on, and we got plenty of time. It's freestyle here, but Ricky reached out to me and wanted to talk about the bracket and the award that they're going to be giving away. And I had already planned on doing a live about the bracket, and so we kind of combined this time for that. And we want to talk not only about the bracket in general and their experience, and because remember, they had front row seats in the bracket. They were in the bracket on the front lines. We also want to talk about an award they're giving away for the second annual AHRA No Name Nationals. Yep. So you guys, you can tell them what you want to tell them about. Yeah. We're just hanging out.
Yeah, we can discuss the award first. It's the Red Light Ricky Award. It's kind of inspired by...
you had a rough year last year.
Last year was a rough year. And, that's racing. It's learning. It happens. And I got the nickname Red Light Ricky. And
how bad was it?
This year, fortunately, has...
You turn it around.
Knock on wood, been a lot better.
Yeah.
This year, with all the fun we had with it last year, decided to make an award of it, and there will be a cash prize.
We got a $100 cash prize, and I'm making a plaque. My daughter's doing the artwork, so it's not ready yet to show you, but it will be ready. She does her artwork for us, and we had a video out 3 months ago,
something really early.
So the rules are in the description, and basically the worst red light, and by worst I mean the higher round you are is worse than the lower round, and the closer you are to green and red lighting is worse than being way off. So
it's the red light of most consequence.
Yes.
And the one that stings the most.
Right.
That's basically how you grade it.
So a 001 red in the finals
be about the worst you can do.
Be the worst you can do, as opposed to a 1 second or leaving 2 bulbs before green in the first round.
So yeah, you can't really game it. And then it's got to be a losing red light. So if there was a double red light, of course, the losing red light would be eligible.
Justin Hill says, I want a cash prize. Well, you're in luck. All you have to do is do some winning.
Right.
So win and then lose at an inopportune time.
Right.
That's right.
So when you got the name Red Light Ricky, how did it get to that point? How did it get to that? I want to hear the story.
Well, it was hilarious because I think it was the last year, the very first track day of the year. It was the first track day. The Duster just got done from the previous winter, and we met up with Bad Tree Productions at Tri-State Raceway. And every year in the first track day there, they have what they call street class, just whatever you want to run, bracket race, whatever. And in the first or second round, I red lit the first of the year, and Blake called me Red Light Ricky. For some reason, it stuck. But then it's like the first couple weeks, maybe a couple weekends, I was pretty good. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know if I just got in my own head. But there was a stretch where I was losing a lot of races by going red, a lot. And so it got to the point where we're trying to mess with front tire pressures and rear tire pressures to decrease rollout. And
so we learned a lot to slow the car down because it does react pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a very fast reacting car. Like if a lot of people say, the general knowledge, general rule, teaching someone to bracket or, drag race, leave on the last yellow. Right.
Yeah, it doesn't always work.
If I leave on the last yellow with the Duster, I'm going 0.3 negative. You know.
Yeah.
I would say I am leaving the last half to quarter of the last light. Like it's.
And we stayed shallow.
I have to stage literally barely get the second set of bulbs to come on. It's.
What diameter tire are you running in the front?
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
It's a
20, probably 27 inch.
It's a 215 60/15.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because usually the bigger the better, and then you drop the air pressure.
Yeah. We're running what we had.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 100% understand, but it's one of those things. Well, we went to a shorter tire to save weight and a bunch of other stuff, whatever. But that didn't help anything at all. So then we went to this, a little bit taller tire, and I think it's helped. And we're running. My sweet spot right now is running 29, 30 psi in the tire to help with my rollout.
a little bit of squish in it, yeah.
A little bit of squish, yeah.
What made me laugh is when he said that. I had this vision of you having ricing canes on the front of the Duster. Yeah. Yeah, Twisted Mopar Garage is a bracket regular. He's talking about letting the air out, make the footprint bigger.
Yep.
He runs 28 pounds in the front.
Yeah, it's not uncommon, and we forgot I forgot where we learned that from, but it's like because we were running like 40 pounds of air.
Yeah.
And as soon as we dropped it down, my reds got less, and it was just more about me, getting to my spot on the tree better.
So yeah, we've got that dialed in, I think, pretty good, and his lights have been pretty consistent.
Yeah,
pretty good.
The day that I won this year, the day I won, I don't think I had a tree worse than I think at time trials I had like a bad tree, but I don't think I had anything worse than like an 07 or something. A lot of 03s, 04s.
Right where you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which for foot braking, in the class that we run, no trans brake, nothing.
Oh yeah.
03, 04 is a winning light all day.
Yeah. I used to run a lot of foot brake racing. But then when I went into like a D-gas racing, which is kind of like a heritage series, which is like a 1060 index, it's a pro tree.
Yeah.
And so I was good for like an 030, like a .030. But I was doing the same thing. I had 40 pounds in the front tire and so on and so forth. And I would go red on a pro tree. So I had to keep dropping the air pressure down. Then I started getting bigger tires. So once I found that the medium between a big tire, air pressure, then I was good for like an 030 on average. On a bad day it was an 050.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to say hi to a few more people that have drifted in here. We've got 38 POS Racing, Busted Radial Garage, J. Russell Finch is here. Glad you guys could make it. Ed's Machine dropped in. The fella who Ed did a crank for you guys, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. And he did the rods, and I think that was probably the biggest thing he did for us. The rods were all tight, and so he honed them all out, and it's running really good.
Yeah,
is that the problem you guys were having in the off season when you tore that engine down?
Well, what happened when I built the engine originally back in 01, I just assembled it. It was a kit, Mopar Performance kit, and I had a push rod failure a couple times, so I ran a bunch of metal through it. So it boogered up the crank, and we ran it his first season. Then we tore the engine down, and I sent it in to be polished, and it was beyond being polished. But the machinist didn't tell me that, and he polished it, and we had glitter the first oil change. It was ruined from the get-go.
And so we ran like that the rest of the season, because at that point, what are you going to do about it?
So we knew we had to tear it down and do it over.
And if we had made probably 2 more passes at No Name, we probably would have had the biggest oil down award. It was
ready to spin a bearing.
Wow.
Yeah, the number 3 bearing had no crush left
and
to it.
It just fell out. We took it apart and it collapsed.
So,
but we ran our quickest 8th mile ever at No Name. So they're always faster before they blow.
What was your quickest 8th ever?
We went 7. I think at No Name.
7:48.
No, I think it was 47.5 or something.
Okay.
It was high 47s.
Okay.
This year, I think it's only been 62, 61.
Yeah, so over the winter, we put an 8-point roll bar in, which changed the dynamics of the car and added a little bit of weight. And we ran into a few other problems we figured out. So we're working on getting our 60-foot back to where it was. We got some tuning things we're working on, and worked on the carburetor, and so looking really good now.
Yeah.
But we didn't really do anything to add power to the engine, just because it's an 1160 class. We can't go any quicker, so we dial 1204 or something, and puts us about. There's only
a few.
Yeah, so we'll race about 24 guys, but almost everybody's slower, so you got the advantage of being the fast car. at running a 12.0.
I think there's only a couple guys.
A couple guys are quicker, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Do you guys run a throttle stop, or what do you guys run?
No, you can't have any of that. It's a foot brake sportsman class.
Yeah, no electronics.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
So,
just.
Can you run a plate underneath it then, like not one that's like an adjustable plate that you adjust before you go out there?
I suppose
an
I could,
ETG?
but
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you could do something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not going fast enough to matter with it or bother with that yet. But
what do you guys' plans look like for, say, the next 5 years out? Do you have any things you want to do with the car, or build anything, or make any bigger changes?
yeah, so I mean, everybody wants to go faster, obviously. So we've been like the past probably year and a half bouncing around the idea of making a really fast car, like a 10-second quarter, whether it's a 10.9 or a 10.0, a 10-second car. And we were like, well, we could go with this chassis or that chassis and whatnot. And probably after we put the roll bar in the Duster, with the way the rules are,
it's legal for 10.0.
yeah, the Duster is now legal for 10.0.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the goal. Obviously, I want to keep bracket racing. May or may not buy into points maybe next year, maybe not the next, depending on how it all unfolds. But if we can just have like an absolute ripper of a car, whether it's on this engine, spraying down the house, or we even discussed the Gen 3 Hemi swap.
That's where I'm leaning towards.
Yeah, turbo.
I agree.
Just.
But what we want to do is we want to take this on the road and go meet up with other folks and travel to different tracks.
Yeah, go to like Mopar events, no name. There's a bunch of stuff out there, and then
like hit something once a month and just travel.
And then with my Fiesta, I just bought a spare engine for that thing. But man, after doing 6 summer, a drag and drive, I'm addicted.
That's good stuff.
I want to do more drag and drives.
That's everything. That's you do that one time and you're hooked. You're like, there's nothing else like this. Yeah.
And improving almost every single day, having a little bit of troubles, trying to work it out and get everything figured out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little bit. I'm glad I didn't struggle very much, but it's like some of these guys who change the engine on the side of the road, changing transmission, working on it. It's like, as much as I don't want that, just the pressure of that, just there's something about that I hope I never have, but I wouldn't mind experiencing,
That's the fun of it. Yeah.
But yeah, I went with that car. It was the
1242.
Yep, the fastest I went was on the final day. I went 1242 at 113.
With the turbo 4-cylinder front drive, stick shift.
Yeah. And that car surprised the heck out of people.
What's your best 60 foot in that car?
I went 1.80.
Wow.
So there's a lot left on the table there.
Yeah, and that was only running like a launch control, which in that car doesn't build a lot of boost. If I actually got like a 2-step and launched on like 10 pounds of boost or something, there's more in it. But I'm pretty well pleased where it's at, and a little bit more money, it could easily be bottom 11s. The car still has a lot more potential in it.
What's the first thing that's going to break on it when you try to turn it up?
Well, the next thing I got to get is high pressure fuel pump.
Yeah, we're out of fuel.
Yeah, I'm out of fuel, and then I got to get a map sensor so I can run more boost. And there's not a lot of weak points. I had a buddy who lives in Oklahoma, and he has that same setup, same turbo I got in the car now. And he went 1130s at like 125 or something, 1120s. And I think he made about 8 passes under 11.5 before he blew up. So I don't know. I'd personally like to just be into the 11s with it and still be safe enough to where I'm not just going to blow up right away, But if I could, but there's guys who've been, I think about a month or two ago, the first guy in the Fiesta ST has been in the 9s. He went 980 something.
Wow.
Yeah. On the engine I have in my car. So it's very well capable, but I don't have that kind of time or money. So if I could, like I said, get into 11s, just run 11s with it, I'd be more than pleased. But that's kind of our future. Just nothing crazy, but goals, really.
Gotta have goals. I want to say hi real quick to Greg McDonald and Smoke Wrench Garage, Mopar Jeff 604. Thanks for swinging in, guys. Colleen Tebow finally got here. Colleen, you're missing the party.
Right.
Get a little caught up. I see Auto Salvage Outlaws and Buck Does It are here. 6% recycled. Glad you guys could make it. Lots of folks streaming in. Mohawk is here. We've only got 13 people running in the No Name 500 at the moment. The rest have all graduated. There are 13 remaining.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very doable.
Yeah.
We did one on my channel. That was a first for me. That was on our live last week. Last Wednesday. That was awesome.
Yeah, and so sometimes when I'll see one close, Tadlock's Tool Shed was 5 away on the Wednesday night live, so we had 2 minutes left. I thought we might as well mention that.
Yeah.
Captain Do is here. All right. Get caught up, but I just like to try to greet people when I can.
Mm-hmm.
Auto Salvage Outlaw says 460. Get in the 4s on 8th. Okay, that's quick.
That's moving.
So, Rick, do you ever drive the Duster? Have you ever driven the Duster? Oh, and hello to his Good Time Garage.
Yeah, I used to bracket race that car. And I haven't driven it since Ricky started driving it. So
okay. I mean, you've drove it down the road, but you think it's a death trap. And
you
think I'm nuts for driving it as fast as I do.
I do. But no, I bracket raced that several years, probably 5-6 years, and has pretty good luck with it. Won a few times. So,
what is the trap speed you're getting in the quarter in that car?
The best we had was 113, but typical a lot of 110, 111.
That's where A bodies start to get interesting.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's it? Does it got a Caltrax in the rear?
Super stock springs.
Super stock springs. Okay, yeah. I ran super stock springs all the way to 1090, and that's where it gets really interesting. Is because once you start hitting that pinion snubber, it starts walking like this as you're going down the road because it wants to claw on both sides, even with the spool. So I went to Caltrax, it straightened it out. But then when I went into the 990s, that's when I realized the front suspension had finally found its limit. Yeah, about 130 something miles an hour is where that front end just gets a little funky. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was set a couple of years ago. The fastest stock suspension A body, I think it was a turboed. I don't know if it was a turboed small block or a Gen 3 Hemi. It was something, but I think they went 790s, super stock springs, pinions, stock suspension.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like, well, I think we're good for as fast as we're going right now.
Yeah.
There's so many setups, but it's like if that guy's doing it with that, I mean, I don't think we're pushing its limits.
Yeah, you'll be fine. The only thing that was really funny for me is when it would come up and then it would come back down, it was the tire shake in first gear. When you come down, you would feel that, because it's idler arm that's moving. I reinforced the K member to help that, but it still would always wiggle. There's nothing you could do about that.
It does that just the tiniest amount right now. Yeah. But top end's a little shaky.
And we've replaced everything. Anything serviceable has been replaced more than once. It's all good and tight underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
the
geometry.
The bush strut rods? Have you replaced those instead of putting them on a bushing, put them on a rod link? That really helps out quite a bit too. Keeps it from. Point. Yeah, once I got into the 10s, I made my own and I just built it and put it up on there, and that helped out quite a bit with the. Once I got over 130, it kept it more straight. Especially when you're on the throttle and your suspension's fully extended in the front end when it starts to settle, and then it wants to start hunting. Yeah, that was always the scary thing.
From moving back and forth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, try that because that made me feel a lot more comfortable once I started getting to the over the 130 mark.
Hope we hit that at some point.
Any of you guys have any questions for Rick or Ricky? I got to tell you, it's been fun watching you guys, your content, what you put up. I got to tell you, and this may be goofy, but one thing that really I laugh every single time I see it is that glove box door on the duster. It's the greatest thing.
Mine
It
is the same
cracks me
thing.
up every time.
It flops open every single time.
Yes,
Mine's-
every time.
We have it gorilla taped shut right now, but yeah, it's still in my intro to my videos.
Yeah.
It flops up. Yeah, left
I
that
just-
in because
I leave mine open now because no matter what I put magnets on it. I recessed. I tried everything and no matter what, it just flops open. So I just leave it open now. It's like
I'll tell you the one I had my swinger was the you know how you can actually adjust the tension on your mirror adjustments if you take them off with the two little Phillips head screwdrivers. Well, my rear view mirror had gotten loose, and when you leave, the rear view mirror would swing up almost to the headliner.
Oh wow!
And you had to straighten it back down.
Yeah, I used to race a D150. It was a 79, and glove box would pop open on that thing too. It was,
Yeah.
I'd always, after the burnout, I'd reach over and slam it shut, and I don't know why I did, but it was my routine. Slam it shut and go.
So what training do you have in that thing? Are you 904 guys or 727s?
727.
727.
It came out of my truck, so it's the only transmission we've ever had.
Yeah.
And it was built back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So we haven't freshened it up yet. We're talking about it, but so far so good.
I just bought a backup core 727 for like $100. So we think we want to build that, maybe go a little more aggressive.
Yeah, practice on that.
Maybe put a trans brake in it, just
Let's
go a little more serious with it.
That car, you could not have a better candidate to do a 904 with low first and second than that car right there.
You'll pick up you'll go from your
2.5
12
tenths at least.
Yeah, I would say you'll be in low 12s right off the bat. It's
One
just
change.
one change. And not only you'll pick up weight, I think it's 40 pounds difference in weight. You'll pick up the first gear, and then you'll pick up just the rotating mass. It's an awesome setup. I'm a big 904 guy. That's the only reason why I asked. I went from I was in the 1270s and I went to like a 1250, and then by the time I got the low ratio gear in it, I went down to like a 1220. This is back when I was street racing in Mexico, type thing. So yeah, it's an awesome transmission. I was sold ever since then. And for what you're doing, all the way up until you're into the 10s, a 904 will live just fine.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, this is the transmission I had built in the 90s, and
Yeah.
we adjust the bands, change the filter and fluid, and keep going. I've got
It can live forever in that car.
we got a Pro Torque converter, 9.5-inch Pro Torque in it, and
Yeah.
we leave it in drive. It shifts to 5,500 on its own. It's consistent, and
Yeah.
we've been 1180 was our best with it.
So did you lighten up the governor for that 5,500 shift, or do you just have your throttle?
No, the guy who modified it did that. Yes.
Okay. That's cool.
So it's a Transgo Stage 2, and then it's any gear at any speed. So it doesn't matter how fast you go, and you get first gear again and brake everything if you want. Yeah.
Right.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Let's see here. Does Nothing Special joins the chat. Glad you're here. Professor P, people,
Sure.
we talk about all these things that you do and things you get into with the Slant 6 and all these cool things that you get to do with your day job and whatnot and what the Cookie Monster's doing. But you have a lot of bracket experience yourself. You have any good bracket racing tales you'd like to tell us?
Yeah, I lost a lot before I started winning.
Yeah.
I lost a lot because I had no one to really teach me, and at that time, the people who are going to teach you are the people you're racing against. So they don't really want to, and I was more of And the only reason why I went out and did some bracket racing is because that was the only thing that was really around at that time. And I was more of a street racer. And then I got, if you Google Shane Polito, my real name, there's a New York Times little thing on me where I got busted for street racing way back in early 2000s. And I had to do a bunch of community service. So I actually built cars for the drag race cars for Code 4 Racing, which is the San Diego Police Department. And I taught the chief of police and the police department how to drag race those cars. It's a true story. And in fact, there was a guy who came down from LA, and he was a Starsky and Hutch car. It was one of their police cars, right? And then we had a Crown Vic, and then we had an old Cutlass, right? And that's a whole story for a different time. But as far as how the builds went, but yeah, if you beat the cop, even though I wasn't a cop, I was just in there representing the cops. I used to drive for them. Yeah, I never gave away any T-shirts. Yeah, they wouldn't. Yeah, it was all a bracket race. So that was really most of my bracket racing thing. When I would go up against the other guys, a lot of those guys, I was just like these gentlemen here. I did it on a foot brake, no electronics, no nothing. I did buy an ET Genie when I was running in the 1060 index class, that when I was doing the Heritage Series, to slow my car down, because my car was like a 950s 960 car, and I didn't want to run into the 980 class or 960 class because I was barely there. So I would slow it down by a full second with the ET Genie. That's why I was asking you guys.
Tell us what the ET Genie is, because I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's imagine, like, when you play the disc game where it's got two discs that basically cross on top of each other. It goes underneath the carburetor, so that way a throttle stop, you're only half throttle, so you're not fully open or whatever. This one, you go full throttle, but it only allows so much air. And then underneath it, it's got an Allen nut, and you put a dial indicator on it, so it'll tell you how much movement you have. So if you go out there and you know that you just keep backing it off 50 thousandths until you find out how slow your car slows down. And then you kind of go back and forth, and then you can judge that 50 thousandths equals a tenth of a second. So then you can basically dial in, by a thousandth of a second, by a thousandth of whatever you're doing on the ET Genie. And it worked really good. And then I started winning a lot. I started winning, all the different things in the class. But it got boring because you're racing the same guys, and it was racing the clock. And that was when I really got into the match race madness stuff, because I was just getting burnt out on that, slowing the car down, and I just wanted to go as fast as I could go. And that was fun. That's why I really enjoyed the match racing, because it reminded me a lot of the street racing. So that's
want to say hi to Tony's Hot Rod Garage, and Bad Tree Blake is in the house. Blake, you got the award that you pretty much named here. The Red Light Ricky Award. I'm pretty sure Blake was the one that came up with Red Light Ricky. It sounds exactly like something he would come up with.
I believe he did, yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine it wasn't. But anyway, we're talking about that. For those of you who are just joining us, we've got Jeray Racing, Rick and Ricky in the house talking about their experience in the bracket and the Red Light Ricky Award, which will be given for the red light of highest consequence at the second annual No Name Nationals bracket race here in September. We got Professor P with us, and we're just hanging out talking general stuff and bracket now, but we're going to be joined soon by John Cope. He's going to come in for the second half. He's been having fun building a one-of-one in the universe valve body. That's what he's working on right now, and it is getting really, really close to the first manual valve body, E4OD, all gears on the shifter, so you can have the same kind of CRT performance in a Ford valve body. So he just got possessed and wanted to do it, and he's working on it probably as we speak.
It's awesome.
But he'll be in the second half, because we're going to talk about the bounty that's on our friend Joe here. And we're going to have a giveaway here a little bit later. Here in the second half, we're going to have a giveaway.
So some questions on the bounty. I guess I haven't followed 100% close. Is it you got to beat him in the finals to get all the bounty money, or just if you knock him out second round, that's
knock
it?
Him out at all.
Yeah.
If you knock him out. Yeah.
The first person So if he buys back in, no, it's the first person to take him out.
Okay.
And
First round.
Cope,
Okay.
yeah, Cope is the one that came up with this. So we'll let him tell people what he's got in mind. And then Professor P wanted in on that action, so he jumped in the pot.
You know what?
But
The
I added-
Shot
I-
209 here.
I added a little. Do you want me to talk about mine yet, or no? Do you want me to hold off on that?
Sure.
Okay. So what I did is that I'm all about someone, being really good and like having a target on their back, but I also am really stoked if Joe actually wins again. So I actually have 2 awards. One, you have to take out Joe. It could be in the first, second, third, fourth. Doesn't really matter. It just can't be if he buys back in. You take him out. I think what was it, $160? I think is what I put up. I think is
Right.
I can't remember. And then,
That's
but
right.
here's the 160. But here's the thing: is if Joe wins it again, he gets $200. And then next year, if he wins, this year, and then he wins on the third one, then he gets $300, and it just keeps going up $100 each time until he's knocked off and dethroned. So if he wins it 10 years in a row, you get $1,000 from me.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Joe, talking with him, I guess it's kind of an announcement kind of deal that, or if you want to call out a rematch or whatever. But last year we had our little grudge bracket race call out where he beat me, but I'm calling him out again this year for one-on-one bracket race. So hopefully I can best him this year in that.
Gonna put some money on it?
A call out outside of the bracket, but it'll be handicap.
Bracket match race. A bracket match race.
Yeah. Yep.
You guys gonna put money on it?
Yeah. Last year.
Well, I don't know. We didn't.
This is the first I'm saying about it for this year. Yeah, I think last year I ran dead my number, but I was so slow on that tree.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first time ever racing an LED tree.
Yeah,
And
they're
That
different.
that was different.
It's so much different than those other bulbs,
Yeah.
old school ones.
I'm equally terrible on both. So to me, it wasn't really any change.
Yeah. The LEDs react faster, and it's harder for you to how the glow works. How it dims out and dims in, because it's really instantaneous. So it's hard.
Yeah. So I noticed that because now with my home track with those bulbs, it's like you can see the other one shutting off as the other one's turning on. It's like you can.
Yes.
It's so slow in my head now. It's like I can see it just starting to glow. Yeah, the LED ones are definitely going to be a challenge, but
Yeah, because they're on and off. That's it. There's no glow on them. They're on and
Yep.
off. Especially staging on them too. That's difficult too. When you're used to like a incandescent, when you're staging, when you get up and then you're trying to bump in to get to actually fully stage, and then on LED, it's just like if you tickle the light, it flickers and it really messes with you, because it's not like a glowing; it's a flicker.
yeah.
Yeah.
I see Ben Schultz is in the house. Glad you're here.
Hey Ben.
Bad Tree Productions Blake is telling Rick that you need to slap Ricky to make him stop being so awkward.
There's nothing that's ever going to change that.
No.
Well, it doesn't really matter when you win a round. You know what? It just doesn't matter.
Oh man.
But what is this? So Joe dropped his first 000 reaction a while back. I don't remember that. He may have.
Mm.
And T's Good Time Garage is asking, is Jeffers using LEDs?
They are.
Yeah, I think they are.
Yep.
Indeed. Smoke Ridge has never raced with an LED tree. The first time I ever took an LED tree was on a license pass, and again, I suck on it no matter what. It doesn't matter. It just my lights are measured on a sundial anyway, but all that mattered was ET, so I didn't care.
Yeah.
You might have to check the weather radar here. It's really whipping up.
I can hear the wind outside our building. I don't know if you guys can, but the wind is howling out there.
Well, if you guys get in the movie Twister and get taken away, we'll call the action.
Awesome.
Right.
Well, we've survived 2 derechos, so I'm not worried about it.
Yep, we'll delegate Blake to call 911, and Professor P and I we'll call all the action.
Yeah.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I thought it was strange when the traffic lights were starting to go to LED. I was more weirded out by that than on the tree at the track.
Yeah, the problem is they didn't thaw the snow off. No heat,
Yeah.
so
They don't get hot enough. Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah. I never thought about that. Yeah, you guys have different set of concerns up there.
Ooh.
it'll blow over.
In Canada.
Oh, is that what they're at? They're up in there in Canada?
They're
No,
close
we're in
enough.
Iowa.
Close enough.
Oh, okay.
I've never been to Iowa. Before I die, I've got to do it.
I can hear their wind.
Yeah.
I can hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the pretty red cell. It'll blow over quick.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here.
You know, you guys were talking about engines just a minute ago, and you know, you guys want to get into the 10 seconds. If you just get a 6.4, change the cam, put headers on it, and it will make 600 horse, and that will take you into the 10s easily in that car. So, and you don't have to do anything to it. You got race car block, race car heads. If you wanted to change the piston, if you're not going to spray it or anything, just leave the stock pistons and rods in it. Just get one of those, cams that are friendly with that. And, you know, anything that's going to be in the 220s, duration at 50 on the intake, that'll easily make 600 horse, and you'll be right there, and you'll be able to drive that car anywhere you want to go.
Yeah, we discussed going the 6.4 route, whether we find one out of a wrecked car or buying a crate or
just get one out of a car. Just get it. In fact, I got one out of a truck. I have a 6.4 BGE, and I got actually a couple of 6.4s back there, and they're very inexpensive. I bought one out of a burned up truck, and it barely got anything on there. And I got it for basically trading parts out. So it was, and the heads is really what you're getting, and the block. That's what you really want. A lot of people go the 5.7 route, but by the time you spend the $1,000 on porting the heads just to flow with a stock 6.4, you just spend the extra money on the 6.4, and then you get the bigger bore, the better crank, and all that right off the bat.
Cope runs you wouldn't believe how stock the engine is in Mr. Haney. That truck weighs 4,100 pounds, naturally aspirated, runs 1150s.
Yeah. What kind of engine is it? It's a 6.4? Yeah, exactly. Well, our test vehicle that we do a lot of testing in for Edelbrock is a 2015 Charger. I built a 6.4 for that, and it's just got a cam and headers on it, and literally a stock intake, with the short valve runner on it. And that makes 500 to the tires, and that's it. And we beat it up. We do 100 passes in one day, like we do 100 eighth mile passes in one day. Drive at 2,000 miles. We do another 100 passes in one day. It takes 5.5 hours at the drag strip to do 100 passes at the drag strip in one day.
I'll go look out the window.
So I don't know.
I'm sorry, I can't. This storm is so loud on this bill. I heard.
I can hear it now.
Yeah.
I can really hear it on your roof.
Yeah, I can hear
we're
it.
in a steel building. It's not really helping anything.
So, question for Professor P, and
Sure.
maybe it'll help you guys too, since you're considering going that route. I like the Hemi stuff, but I am a carburetor and distributor kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an option to run a carburetor and a distributor on the Hemi?
Yes.
You always run a carburetor.
Yeah, carburetor, and then there's a company. I can't remember I knew you'd ask me this, but I don't know the name of the company. If maybe they know it, but it you can put a distributor on the front of it, and it runs
Belt
it sideways. What's that?
It's a belt drive, front mount
it's like
belt drive. Okay.
Yeah, it's a belt drive,
Okay.
and then it works well. A lot of people run it.
Yeah, I see. I like that. I would consider that. I like a very minimalist engine management system, like vacuum.
Yeah.
Vacuum is my engine management system.
If I were to run a carburetor on a Hemi, now that I know how the Hemi head flows, the setup of it, I would definitely run dual carbs on it, because the way the ports go straight down into the head, a tunnel ram a Hemi is designed for a tunnel ram, just the way it's set up. So if I ever ran a carbureted deal, I'd run twin carburetors on it. Absolutely.
And Danny Boyd, it may be, I just prefer a carburetor and distributor. That's just me.
Yeah.
I would like the advantages that it has with the strength of the block. The head ports are simply amazing. The packaging of it's not bad. From what I'm seeing, that third gen Hemi fits really nicely in cars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of aftermarket for it.
Yeah. The Cookie Monster. That's a good idea right there.
We jumped in the pickup truck so we can actually hear ourselves think now.
Yeah, nice. That gives a good new view. You look like you're driving down the road.
Yeah,
you should tell people you're on the road when they come in the chat if they haven't.
Yeah, this is probably shown once or twice in the channel. Our GMC Sierra Grande 2500.
What year?
70.
70?
My grandpa bought it brand new.
Yep.
You know, what you guys couldn't hear is what I was telling you is that as far as how, you can beat on those blocks, those engines, I was just saying that we built one. I built one, 6.4, and we've taken to the drag strip, and we've done, in one day, we'll do 100 passes down an 8th mile. We'll do 2,000 miles on it, and we'll do another 100 passes on the 8th mile, and we've done that 4 times now. So we've done 400 passes in the 8th mile in
Wow.
And just beat it up, and it just runs like a champ. It's awesome. People are like, "Oh, it's the greatest job in the world." Yeah, the first 20 are awesome, but after that, you're just like, "Man, I've got 80 more passes to go."
Did I hear right that if you got a truck 6.4, obviously you change the heads and all that, but isn't the truck block stronger? I thought I heard.
Well, it's a BGE, so the 6.4 block, you get them out of a truck or the Scat Packs. It's the exact same block that's in the Demon. It's the exact same block that's in the Hellcat. It's just a big gas engine block. I actually cut one up. We milled one apart just so we could put it on the Spintron. And so I milled it out for them. I'm the only one that's a machinist there at the time. And so, but as far as how the block is, it's kind of like a semi-fill. Like you used to fill the block with concrete to stabilize the bore. That's got it from the factory. So basically the top only 2.5 inches is what's getting the water. The rest of it is just is reinforced with cast iron. So it's an incredibly strong block and stable. That's what makes it super stable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, so we've been debating that, and I wouldn't mind going that road, but the 5.7s are just so much more abundant. And
yes.
And if it's something we learn the Hemi because they're abundant. If we hurt one, we got to get another one just more available. Then maybe once we get a system down, have it learned, then go to the next, engine. Yeah,
that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is if you get a 6.4, you don't have to do anything to it. That's the beauty of it. You just you put a camshaft in it that is going to clear. You lock the phaser out. You degree the camshaft. And let's go racing. And that's what we've done, and it just lasts and lasts and lasts. And and you don't even have to go crazy with the oil pressure. You just run I think it's the Red Eye or the Hellcat oil pump in it, and then and then we have the Evolution lifters now at Comp that we came out with, and those things are amazingly awesome.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Looks like Joe just got in the house.
Joe is here.
There he is.
What's going on? Joe, do you like my new decor back here?
Wanted, Mopar Joe.
Lunar says that because I've done one modern fuel injection not coil unplugged, but that style of coil anyway. Because I've done one, I would want to do more. Not necessarily. I mean, it's okay, but it's not really my bag.
Yeah, I've done it, and I'm okay with it. But if you were to ask me, what do I want? I want a carburetor, because I can fix that with a rock and a screwdriver, and
Right.
I've done that. Fuel injection, you're not going to do that. And it's it's just a whole different game.
Well, you were talking about if we did go a Hemi swap to
We'd run
want to do.
carburetor. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Did I hear you saying that they love the tunnel ram on those things?
Well, if I were to do it myself, just because I know how the head works and and how the port design is, and I've seen a lot of testing with just that engine in general, the ports go straight down. It's not like there's no angle on them like a wedge. So when you put a carburetor on there, it's going to sit up top, but then the runners are going to do these funky things. So you lose a lot comparatively to, like, say, fuel injection, because they're not designed to run with a wet style of manifold.
Right.
So if I were to build one, like we were talking about earlier, I would put a tunnel ram on it with dual carbs. That way you basically have a carburetor sitting right over top of it. And if I could actually do it any way I wanted to, I would run 4 2 barrels, essentially, because they would be divorced and go straight down right into it. Yeah. When you get the block and you look at it, you see how it's set up, you'd understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, if you can do it, it would be just, I was going to get a TIG welder and just make it myself. Why
I was about to say, I don't think you can buy like a legit tunnel ram for one. I don't think that's on the market.
So cost-wise, let's say you're going to go to the junkyard and shop. Cost-wise, what is it going to cost you to do a third-gen Hemi swap? Let's just say A body, B body, whatever. What would it take? What does it take to do that swap?
Okay, so there's actually they did this on Engine Masters, and it's literally the exact same cost. If for the carburetor, then you get the MSD, the computer, then you have to get the wiring harness, the intake manifold, and so on and so forth, and the headers. When you go down to the wrecking yard, you can usually get a pull-out that has all the injectors and all the harness and everything already on it. Then you can get a standalone and put it on there. So it really comes out to about the same, believe it or not.
Okay.
And as far as power-wise, if you're going to do anything, if you wanted to get a 5.7, get one like an Eagle one, like that's 09 and later. But I would just go straight to the 6.4 personally, just because of the head flow.
Is there any advantage of the 6.4 besides being probably a little more abundant than getting like a 6.1?
6.1s are incredibly expensive right now because everybody wants it, because it's the non-VVT style block. I personally have a 6.1 that I'm going to be running in my road race car. But if I could just go to a straight a 6.4, they're a little bit more abundant, and you can get a 6.4 non-BGE. Now, you don't need a BGE unless you're going to put a bunch of boost to it. A stock 6.4, you can put 1,000 horsepower to that block and it'll be just fine. The BGE block, I think they're good to 1,500 or 1,700 successfully. I was helping tune. I'm going to throw out a name here, and I'm sorry, David, but his name's David Starnes. He owns D&B Automotive, and he has this thing called the Devil Cat. I put a nitro system on his car, and he was the fastest stock Hellcat. I think he went 870s or 880s. I don't quote me on that. But we put a little shot of juice on it. But that's a BGE block, and he was, that thing weighed 4,400 pounds is what those cars are, not light. And he was running he was running 880s in that car. That's incredibly fast.
Hey, Jay.
Let's see here. Lunar says that having to buy a module for the wideband set costs $3,000 for the ECU and $3,700 for the wiring harness. Man, I'll take stuff I would not want to play with for $500, Alex. I mean, if that's your world, that's great. I gotta say, the only thing that I ever I'm really jealous of, I like analog stuff. I even like points, but man, that wideband O2 is something that's just a concession that is so nice.
Yeah, we use one.
Dan, that's like, if there's one thing that I want to disrupt the 1970s look of everything under the hood, it's that. Oh, yeah. It's worth it.
I have the fast wideband on everything that's the Bluetooth, and that is just incredible. You can drive down and have it right on your phone.
And nice.
Yeah, and you can record it. It takes RPM, and it's an incredibly awesome system. That's actually how I tune it on the Slant 6, because I have a daily driver Slant 6 with the 270 gear, and I throw huge, massive carburetors that wouldn't even run a drag Slant 6, but I'm able to tune it with this because of that wideband. It's the only way I'm able to do it.
What little bit I've gotten to learn about using those things has come from two people, Andy Wood and Dallas. And those two know so much about it. It's like you learn from osmosis just hanging around them, especially when they're turning wrenches and such. But it's a wonderful tuning tool.
Yeah.
So that probably will be something that will be hidden in my race car.
Always.
Yep. See, there we go.
Yeah. And it's literally an app that goes right on your phone like this. So that way you just you can't really see it, but you plug it right in, and then then as you're driving down the road, you have your little stick up there, and as I'm going down the road, it's awesome.
That's nice.
Lunar, what does that mean? Rear differentials that are not serviceable. What does that mean? I'm curious about that. I know that a new Mercedes for several years now does not come with a dipstick to check the oil. The car just runs something like 13 quarts, and it has a warning light, and there is no dipstick to check it. You just take it into the dealer periodically, or if the light comes on.
No thanks.
There is no user serviceable way to check it.
No thanks.
Nope.
I'm telling you, though. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one thing to buy problems, but I don't want to buy problems on purpose for well over $100,000. And the engine, I know a guy who works, he's a Mercedes tech, and at that time the engines were over $30,000 as delivered in the crate before you put them in. I just don't understand. And again, it's so funny because he's so trenched into the universe of Mercedes. He loves these things. He says, yeah, but check out this sweet hood because it'll open all the way 90 degrees. I'm like, do you know how much I could not possibly care about that when, an oil change in my car cost $200?
Did you tell him the reason why it opens 90 degrees because you got to change the engine all the damn time?
Right. Yeah, I mean, anyway, I've never Mercedes, and this is, I'm not picking on them. There's other makes that do this too, but man, that is one particular make that loves to just be the solution in search of problems. Yeah. Like I knew a guy that had a shop here I can say it's a sports car clinic here in Blacksburg. I used to know the co-owner of that thing. And he said that what one make will do with 3 parts, Mercedes does with 10. It's just when they take anything apart on those cars, it's up on the lift. It's just like you have to allocate all this extra space to lay everything out because there's just so much stuff. It's like the anti-rattle clip has an anti-rattle clip. It's the most redundant mess you've ever seen. And all that stuff costs so much. And it's just the exact opposite of where I want to be with all of my stuff.
So we love simplicity too. That's why we're kind of afraid of going to the newer. We were loading up for a test and tune on Friday nights. We were going to test and tune at one track. Then we're going to do our points race Saturday and Sunday. And everything went dead. There was a pop and smoke under the dash, and we lost all the old 1973 dash wiring underneath. Just went up. So we shut it all down, and within a half hour, I had that car running again. We just cut it out and bypassed everything, and we were bracket racing Saturday. We missed our race that Friday night, but we were running. So I use a clutch fan just because it's one less electrical thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan here is saying Ford's been doing that for years. No dipstick for checking engine. I didn't realize that. I don't plan to ever buy another vehicle if the year begins with a 2. So I'm opting out of all of this stuff.
Yeah, none of the Fords I've owned, they all have a dipstick, so I don't know which vehicles those would be.
Well, the transmission on my Charger doesn't have a dipstick.
No, it's got a check. It's got a plug on the bottom.
Wow.
No, it has. My Charger's got the 5-speed.
It's a 5-speed. Okay.
So it has a dipstick too, but you gotta
buy.
You gotta buy the dipstick.
Yeah, you gotta buy the dipstick. Yeah.
The Fords use the sight plug, and I like that method because you get your fluid level right where you need it if you get it up to temperature. So it works if you know how.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got to use it. That's the big one.
Yeah.
You have to use it. I'll say hi to Travis and Ron G real quick. Thanks for swinging in, guys. I know I was looking at a post Travis had some parts for sale. Travis, if you want to post it up, you're welcome to. It's up to you. But I know that as early as 2002, maybe even sooner, GM didn't have any kind of automatic transmission dipstick on that Cavalier. And you have to check the fluid like a manual transmission and take a plug out.
Yep.
And it's on the back above the axle and
all
that.
the Fords are like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And cars I hear don't come with spare tires anymore.
No.
A lot of cars have the battery hidden now under the seat and everything else. And
Oh yeah.
I don't like this new era of non-user serviceable stuff.
Where the service manual says, "Don't drink the contents of the battery."
Correct.
Yeah. They used to say how to adjust the valves.
Yeah. Right. You read that same meme. Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Say hello to my next project. One of our Canadians who will be coming to Sikeston. Clay, you should jump in the bracket. There's some award money in the bracket. We should talk about some award money for things in the bracket. So let's recap that, because Cope will be here. I just shoot him a reminder real quick, but he should be here. I'm going to send him a note right now.
And why are you doing that?
He may be so engrossed in this valve body. I hope so. He's been sending pictures, having a lot of fun with it.
That's awesome.
Do you guys think you'll ever run a trans brake?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Well, for different type of events, we can't in sportsman racing that we do, and then the next step up is pro, and you can't run one there either. So you'd have to run super pro, and that's so far out of our league. So not for bracket racing, we wouldn't, but
for special stuff,
special events and things where the rules are looser. Yeah.
Okay.
Or if it came down to like no name and the small tire race or something.
Yeah, when you can do that. Yeah.
So Andy says leave him alone. He's working on Casper parts. And Travis says he's got the Sunday Night Live got a super clean giveaway. So that's cool. Check that out. Dizzy's in the house. Good to see you.
Hey,
and,
Dizzy.
We'll segue over from Dizzy to John Cope.
Oh.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Hey, John.
What's
Come on,
happening?
John. How you doing, man?
How you doing?
I'm gonna
Good.
Not too bad.
switch
Good.
sides with you guys so that you're organized in my mind there. Glad you could make it. So you like my decor in here?
Yeah, you got quite the PR guy doing that for you, huh?
Yeah, my sign guy said, hey, blow this up and make this nice and obnoxious.
Oh yeah, you can see it now.
Yeah, I've seen
So,
that.
Okay.
So let's
funny.
recap this whole. Go ahead, sir.
I was going to just say that picture that's on the wanted poster. I actually robbed that from Joe's Facebook page. I wanted to find because Joe don't smile a lot, I guess, or whatever. So I wanted something kind of not him in a way. And I found when I saw that picture, I'm like, oh, I know what I'm going to do with that.
That's very gangster looking for Joe. I'm not
It
saying.
is. It is, yeah.
All right. Let's talk about all this side money that's going on. So the winner of the bracket, the purse is $500. That's the purse. Okay.
Nice.
That's the house. But in addition to that, there's all these other interesting ways to win money in the bracket at the No Name Nationals. And so we'll hit on them for folks that have come in at the top of the hour, because people kind of come and go in shifts on lives. So let's do a quick recap on the Red Light Ricky Award for those who were not here for the first part. And then let's talk about the bounty on Joe.
Right. So, yeah, our award is probably the way you don't want to win money. Quite simply, it's most consequential red light. So a finals red is worse than a first round red, or a closer to a green, like a 001 red is worse than a 0.9 red, so pretty simple that way. And if it's 2 red lights, in the, side by side, obviously the worst one will get it there, but
Yeah, it's got to be a losing red light.
losing red. Yeah.
So essentially, it's the red light that in the deepest round, with all ties on the round being broken by the one that's the most insult to injury.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Yeah. So that's one thing going on. This is awards you may not want to win, but the No Name Nationals is all about having fun. So it's out there.
Yep.
And then we got to talk about this. So this thing, I know where this came about. I was live with Cope. What was that? Like March 1st or something? You and I were live up there. We're eating our pizza on a live, having fun. And you just came out with this out of nowhere, John Cope.
I did.
Tell us about this bounty thing.
When I used to race at my local drag strip, they had a $50 bounty every points meet on the person who won the last points meet. And no matter if you beat that person, you'd get a little sticker to put on the back of your car that said bounty hunter if you took out the previous winner.
Oh.
And I remember being a little nervous when I was the one who won the event and then the bounty was on me. I really felt that all eyes were looking at me as I rolled up through the staging lanes, and it was a little pressure. So I thought that would be a great thing to add to some friendly camaraderie between all the drivers at No Name Nationals. And so I just spit it out, and Pretty Boy Joe was the one who won the first No Name National. So he is the one who gets to be the one that everybody's going to chase when he goes up there for first, second, or third round.
Yep.
Now, I thought that was cool and interesting. I don't ethically think the house should do anything like this, but I think it's great, all of you guys that want to do it. And it's all in good fun and all of that. So I think it's great. So I'll join in the fun with you, but I would never originate such a thing.
It really is. And it is all in good fun. Joe's a great racer, and I know he's got quite a few wins underneath his belt. And so there's nothing wrong with adding a little pressure, I can remember some of the big dogs. I heard Professor P talking about losing a lot of races when he first started racing. I was the same way. I got to the point where I didn't think this was for me, and you're there and you've only been racing for like maybe a year or two. And then you have the big guy walk past you. He goes, and he'll say to you, he goes, Cope, you look nervous. Everything all right? I said, yeah, I'm fine. Why? He goes, oh, I don't know. Your lug nuts look loose on the front tire. I mean, they would do anything just to get in your head, and they knew how easy it was to do so. So the bounty's a great little thing, and I'm glad to kind of be able to do that and have some fun with it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Professor P, what possessed you to jump in and get in on this fun? And if you would, recap. So, Cope, tell people, recap the money and how you're eligible to win this bounty. How does somebody claim this bounty?
No, I probably shouldn't have thrown the business in it, but I did. I think there's, and you'll have to correct me on that. There's one bounty. I thought it was $100, and any participant who took out Joe, and then if it was, I think 120 or 125, if it was someone who ran a sticker on my car. So you can run to the pits and get a sticker for me. And I've got it right here. Okay. If you want to come back.
So we have, okay, it's $50 to take Joe out in any round.
Oh,
the first person to take
okay.
it. So if he ties back in, $50 to take Joe out in any round. $100 to do it with a CRT sticker on your car.
There you go.
And
okay.
$150 to do it with CRT parts in the transmission.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you're a customer of mine and you put the sticker on, it's $1.50. If you want to go from 50 to 100 and just stick the sticker in the car, then so be it. So there's 3 ways that you can do that. And I if I can make a prediction who's going to win that Ricky red light, I see a round of racing where Joe's going to throw it away and the guy's going to get the bounty and Joe's going to get the Ricky light.
Oh,
I'm going to say it's the other way around.
Bad, if Joe loses to a red light, because I'm sure he'll go around. He is a good racer.
Yeah.
But that's what I think.
My prediction is that the person's going to get the Ricky red light is the one that's going up against Joe because he's going to be so nervous about collecting the bounty. So that's my prediction on who's going to get it.
Yeah. That's I think it's the other way around.
Oh, now, Andy brings up an interesting point. Andy says he still has his band strut. So if you don't have, let's say you're running an X brand transmission, like a Ford or a GM, but you decide to just put your Hemi strut inside, like this one here, that would be a clever way of skirting the rule, wouldn't it?
Well, seeing how Andy's probably going to be a customer of mine because I'm making something special just for him.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, but here's the thing with bracket racers, though. You bend one rule for one guy, you're gonna have to bend them for everybody.
Exactly. Yep.
Right? I've been down that road before.
Now, Professor D, you've kind of added your own. You've made an addendum to Cope's bounty.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that. And again, I've got it written down if you need it, but I think you got it.
I believe you got to have a sticker regardless on your car. And we're going to be handing those out for free.
Stickers will be available at the event.
Yep, exactly. You got to have it on when you're running. You can't just win and then run over and grab one and put it on there. It's got to be going down the track, obviously. And if you take out Joe, in any round, but not a buyback round, but is on the first time he goes out, I believe it's 160, I believe is what it is. But then I added a caveat because I like what John Cope was doing, but I always root for the guy to keep winning. So I'm putting money up for Joe. So if he wins, he gets $200. So
that's nice.
Yeah. And now, but that also compounds. So if he wins this year, he gets 200. If he wins next year, he gets 300. If he wins the next year, it goes up $100 each time he wins. Each year.
If Joe claims that, you realize that there's going to be memes about Professor P being the sugar daddy parts fairy, right? I mean, it's going to get pretty funny after a while. He wins that many consecutive years.
Just is what it is.
I
at that point.
will say that Speed Oasis threw $100 on top of the bounty too.
Ooh.
So Fab Race Mod Repeat, their business Speed Oasis, they've thrown $100 on the bounty.
So is that to take him out or for Joe to win?
That's to take him out. And
okay.
I will say too, and I wish he was in here, but mostly old parts and rust. Patrick, who has the blue Dick Landy Duster, I think it is, turbocharged 318. Mm-hmm. He is doing a separate bounty on Professor P.
On me.
Oh, wow.
So we'll talk about that bounty in 2 weeks. We're going to have a live about the 2810-5 class. But he's put $100 bounty on Professor P and the Cookie Monster.
Yeah, but
so
my bounty's only
good fun.
Yeah, and my bounty's only because I'm going to be racing the 2010-50 class. The bounty I'm putting up is only for the bracket because I didn't know that Joe was going to be running both classes. So I had to clarify that it was just for the bracket because I didn't want to put money up if I was in a class. That's conflict of interest type thing.
Travis, why won't your truck pass tech? I mean, you've still got 54 days and 2 hours and 45 minutes. What do you need to pass tech?
I don't know if any of you...
You've made a pass picking up and thrown out.
I don't know if anybody has noticed at all, but I honestly think that the pressure's already getting to Joe.
Look at this.
If you watch closely, in his videos, he stutters a little bit, and I think I see little things of sweat on his head. So,
I love this guy.
I think the pressure's already getting to Joe, and there's a good chance that he just might stay home and not show up for the race. So,
Oh man!
I don't think so.
Wow.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, Travis.
Now, well, okay. The Max Wedge Dick Dastardly says, "I think Joe can handle the pressure."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so he's rooting for Joe.
I'm rooting for Joe too. That's why I put up a little bit more money for it. Oh, there he is.
Hey, it's Pretty Boy.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Say what?
Hey, kid, when are you going to get a haircut?
Hey, Joe.
How's it going, Joe?
I don't think your mic's on, bud.
Joe,
See, I told you. I told you he was scared.
He's crumbling under the pressure.
He is. You can see it in his video.
Joe, what do you think of all this?
If he got his mic working,
he's going to buy them for us.
I mean, this is first round right here for Joe. I mean, you can't. You don't know how to stage the car. You can't turn your mic on. You know.
That's why there's buybacks.
Oh. So
hey, maybe you ought to have a kid come over there and show him how to work that smartphone. Oh, Joe's texting me now. Wait a minute, guys. Joe's texting me right now on my phone. And he says, John, he goes, you're one of the best racers out there. I don't want to go up against you. Just please go easy on me when you see me at the National.
Now it works.
I'm really nervous about it. So.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, he's in now.
That was enough,
earbuds.
Thank God.
So what do we think? Do we have a rebuttal here? Does the champ have a rebuttal to all of this?
So y'all were right on a bunch of things. I'm going to win the Red Light Ricky Award, where he's that way, right?
Yep.
So I'll at least get $100 because the stakes are highest for me. So if I red light ever, that's like, man, that's the worst red light you can have. If you're,
Yeah.
I'll be the ultimate loser then. Thanks to Shane, because he actually thinks I'll win and could possibly give me some money. So that'd be good.
Yeah.
Shame on John Cope for all the money that he's trying to pay people to beat me. And, it's going to be fun to race Ricky again this year because we're gonna put on a show. So
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully it's a little bit closer. So hopefully I get that tree down.
yeah. It's you can't see the bulbs wake up. It's just like
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
So they're blowing your mind there. But I got a race. So make this my official call out of John Cope this year because he didn't race me last year. I don't know where he went, but he.
I think he was scared or something.
Oh, I love this. This is awesome.
I don't know. He has. He just heard him say he has my number, so he could have texted me and said, "Hey, man, sorry, I got to go." But
You know, I walked up your pit spot like 6 times, and each time you go, "I'm not ready. I'm not ready." I'm like, "Okay, take your time. I know you're a little nervous. Mr. Haney's right over there whenever you're ready."
I think it was his
All right,
Metamucil
I got
time. He had to load up and go on home, right?
Oh,
Okay,
awesome.
is the loser going to be taking a ride in Mr. Haney's wheelchair, doing at least a 60-foot pass in Mr. Haney's wheelchair?
Man, does
Yes, that has to happen.
somebody has to push the other one, right? Or no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That sounds bad for me.
I think loser takes a pass in Haney's wheelchair.
Yeah.
All right,
My
I'm going to do a
legs are only
giveaway
this big
while we've
around.
got
I
the whole
don't have any
crew
push
in
to me.
here.
Say,
So,
I can't see the
I've
chat
got
anymore.
One of these. That's okay. All you're seeing in the chat is all of them saying, you know, how they're all going to gang up on you and smoke you and all this assorted ridicule. No, just kidding. Okay, I'm going to do a
That's what he
giveaway.
said last year. When he said he
First of all
couldn't
of
see
you
him,
guys
he
are. So for everybody on the screen, you're going to get one of these, but I'm going to give one away in the chat. Okay? So you see our bounty poster here?
Put the face.
Okay, that's Cope's bounty poster of JustMoparJoe. I'm actually going to take this one down so you can see it a little better.
Boy, that'd make it a great event T-shirt.
Mm.
This was done by Cope, but I decided to enlarge it. I'm going to give one of these away. I'm going to give one of these away. This is how you win it.
Cool.
You got to guess to the 100th, and you don't have to necessarily guess. If you've got intel, you can use it. What was the quickest Friday 330-foot pass that Joe made at the inaugural No Name Nationals? His quickest 330 on Friday. I made that one just enough. They got to work for it.
Are we allowed to guess, or can we get once we get numbers out? Can we guess?
Well, you all get one of these anyway.
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
I want to play the game.
One of these anyway.
I don't know.
You can play the game. I've got it right in front of me. So for whoever is the first to get the quickest 330-foot number for JustMoparJoe on Friday at the inaugural No Name Nationals. So that would mean it could be a time trial or it could be in the eliminations of the bracket. Either one.
Mm-hmm.
Pick it around here. No.
I'm going to say it was probably in the 5. I'm going to say probably a 510 or 520.
You know what? This contest was over before it started because somebody was paying so careful attention to this.
There you go.
Man.
I think I was at a
so all I want to know,
723
Andy,
ET.
Andy, did you mine that out? Did you go race to find that? You surely didn't just guess that. We got 2 people that got it here. 38 POS Racing's got it too. Look at that.
Wow.
Is that his 330 or his reaction time?
Well, there's the cheat right there.
I made that elementary
so
school
I'm trying
chart
to
there.
encourage
That's
people
really
to
good.
check out the video. So there you go, Andy. You win one of these 2 coming to you. Wow.
Well, if I get one, I want Joe to sign it.
Every time I got something weird.
Yeah. But Cope, I was thinking if are we going to race bracket or heads up this year? Did you decide?
It doesn't matter. I probably be a bracket because Hemi might be a little bit slower this year. I put a different Hemi in it.
Okay.
So it's going to be a little bit slower.
Well, I was thinking if I win that, you should put a JustMoparJoe sticker on back of Haney somewhere.
You got it.
That's perfect.
I was going to say on every vehicle registered to you, but that's way too many stickers there.
I'll even put that Bible verse on there for you too.
There you go. Yeah, I had a guy ask about that from last year. In my last video at George Ray's, he said, "What's the deal with the Bible verse?" Yeah.
Did you get all Sunday school on them and teach them that?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah. Well, that was all good. Shane, I would say, has Shane ran his car any?
Not yet. No, I'm still waiting on the rear end.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know. Believe me. It's going to be luckily, being with Edelbrock, we have a track that we can use whenever we like. So I'll be able to get some time in on it, hopefully, to run it because time is a ticking. I see that 55 back there, and that's
a good one, Blake.
Yeah.
Look at Andy. Andy's such a gentleman. He says, send it to 38 POS Racing. You know what I'll do? I'll send each of you one. How's that? You each need one. And hopefully there'll be, if some other participant makes something else like this for next year, we'll just see what happens. I love working with all these creative people because this is the kind of stuff the house shouldn't do, but I don't have to. You guys do all this cool and fun stuff, and we roll with it. It's good.
Yeah.
T wants one with your autograph, Joe.
$20 bill. You got it.
I can't promise you these won't be on premises, so we'll see what happens.
There you go.
My son guy loved this because my son guy does a bunch of like political signs, and he'll do a bunch of real estate signs, business signs. He doesn't get as much fun stuff like this, but when I send him something, it's a smile because he always knows there's gonna be something fun in there like this.
You should have seen the signs that I hung up at the shop this week.
Who's in that picture, Walter? Who's that?
Hey, Walter.
Mm-hmm. Tell him hello, Walter.
Hello.
There you go.
Hey, Walter, you know this guy?
Who's that?
Daddy.
Mm-hmm. Is he a winner or a loser?
Waddle.
Whatever that is.
Waddle.
That's it.
Well, I'll mute this so it'll be a little quieter on the side.
How many kids you got, Joe?
Still got 2.
2. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
all done.
Same with me, 2.
Yeah, I got 2 also.
Mm-hmm.
3. I got a boy and a set of twins, boy and a girl twin.
Oh, nice.
Well, to keep the average down, I have 0, so that brings it back closer to 2 again.
Right,
I got
right.
3.
You got 3? Oh yeah.
I got 3.
So we're perfect. Everyone's got their 2.5 kids. Their
Right.
family, right?
Oh, man.
Well, I do have a 7-year-old, but I don't think they'd let him enroll for school. So,
Right.
Well, anyways, gentlemen, I'm going to get jamming here. It was real. I had an early morning this morning, so it's nice to get a little sleep tonight. So,
thank you, Professor. Thanks for joining us.
oh,
Good
always, man.
seeing you.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice
man.
to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you
Thanks,
too.
Shane.
No problem, Joe. And John, I know we've said this before, but I think it was really cool at PRI where me and John actually figured out, John Wilburn figured out that I had number 1 of your valve bodies and he had number 500. That's going to go down in history. And when I was telling him about it, I went to my page and I pulled it up and there it was. And I remember when I told you, I was like, I want it to make sure it says 001 on it. I remember I told you that. I want you to etch it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. And I was like, I want to make sure it says 001. You said like, well, I got one in my car. So the one that's in my car right now is the one that you had in your car was your test bed. That's the one.
Yeah, that's right. You're exactly right. Yeah.
Because the other one that you actually had for sale was a clean first and actually it was a first and second gear launch. I didn't want that for my setup, but you just had the first gear launch, but it had the rear band apply, and that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
And remember, I was racing in a D-gas class, and I had a grinder style trans brake, and the trans brake is up on top of that valve body, and it went out on me, and I had to I was scrambling because I had one of those Terminator buttons on there, so it was like the big long travel for, at that time I was running the full tree, and I had no reverse, I had nothing because that's just what it was, and I had to go up to the final round with a foot brake, and the car was not set up for it, and I still got like a 0.530 light, but I was so out of my game, I messed up and I went too fast. So, but still, and I remember I told you, I even have that, and remember I bought an extra solenoid. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yep. I still have all that stuff. I was like, I don't ever want that to happen to me again. I'm going to buy an extra solenoid.
Well, I was really thinking hard when I designed that. Everybody's solenoid on the Chrysler's on the top.
Pain in the ass.
So, I mean, it's not bad to pull a pan and put a solenoid on, but to pull a valve body in the pan, that is a job.
Yeah, I know.
So
I did it.
That's why I put mine in the bottom. I mean, solenoids are electrical. So far I've only replaced 1 or 2 of them out of 600. and it's an easy, fast way. Plus, I use a common solenoid for anybody if they had a problem. As a racer, I made it racer friendly, I guess you can say. But thank you for both of you guys for buying my brake. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
and,
no problem.
And you got another valve body coming up here soon, so 500. But you've also, are you on 610 yet?
Not yet. The next one is 610.
And then
I did 609.
611. And I got 611. But I think where that came up was I told Professor P that I'm leaving from here, and Cope and I are going to go do dinner after PRI. And I said, I'm going to see my new valve body. And we got to talking that I had the 500th one in the video. And Professor P said, hey, I have the first one. And so that's, I think, something like that's how that came up. But mine has 500 like this tall laser engraved on it.
Yeah, not mine. Mine's just all 001.
Yeah, it's done with a pen. Right.
When John texted me that picture of you two guys at PRI, I'm like, he's pulling my leg. There's no way he found number 1 and he's got number 500.
Yeah.
And you guys know each other.
Yeah.
I was like, that can't be possible.
And then we watched your video where you have the ledger, and there's my name right at the very top.
Yeah.
Right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, gentlemen. Well, it's been real.
Cool.
It was a pleasure to be hanging out with you for a while there, Professor P.
All right, you guys take it easy, you two guys. I'll see you guys around.
Yeah, we're talking with you.
Weekend.
Thanks,
You too.
Professor.
All right, bye.
Yes, Clint.
What a nice guy, huh?
For sure.
Yeah,
Indeed.
he's a super nice guy.
Indeed. Well, we got Joe in the house. That's a rare treat. Anybody have anything for Joe? Any questions? Anything?
Yeah,
Joe, do you have anything you want to
technical advice on the driving experience? Joe's here. Ask him.
I'll have to find the chat again, sir.
Well, if any questions, I can pop them up.
Okay, there you go.
But that's
when's
it,
Rick?
Joe. Do you have anything you want to talk about?
When's Rick and Ricky racing next?
Tomorrow
morning.
See,
Yeah, we're gonna be rolling by 7 a.m. at the latest.
you'll have more practice than anybody for sure.
Yeah,
That's the plan.
it's loaded up, ready to go already.
Yeah,
so.
we just got to hook it up in the morning and get down the road.
Mm-hmm. Well, is it going to be cooler since you got a storm right now?
I think it's a high of 85 tomorrow, so about 15 degrees cooler than what it's been. But
Yeah, 85 is fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And once I'm in the car, yeah, it's hot, but the car doesn't care about the heat really. And
What's your home track?
Tri-State Raceway
Oh, okay.
in Earlville, Iowa.
So I see my muffler question. No, they're going to live on there forever until they fall off or rot off. I mean, I don't want to be deaf.
I got a question for you, Joe.
Mhm.
How do you like the big block over the small block?
I love it. I think I actually lost a little bit of weight, like whatever it was, 7 or 12 pounds or something, because my other engine had iron heads, so they were boat anchors. So yeah, that all kind of equaled out. The car's, I think it's probably 2.5 tenths faster, something like that.
Wow.
And
Did you change the converter from the habit tweak for going from a small block to a big block?
it would have worked fine, I think, but it was too loose behind the other engine anyway. So I figured this one probably had a little more torque, so it would probably also be super loose. But originally, when I first went out, I tried that the converter I got from Darren Blake that I called you about. We bought that transmission and converter from him.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it was supposed to be a 3200 stall behind a whatever 600 stroker or 5 whatever stroker. So it was super tight and it wouldn't flash at all. The car just left like that. It would.
Mm-hmm.
There was no reaction at all. But yeah, I've got my other one back in now, and it's doing better, reflashed.
Nice.
Yes, Walter.
So I've been asking these guys if they have any changes coming up. Cope, do you have any changes that are coming up to Haney that you want to talk about? Any? Because I know that you said you just put the engine back in it, or
I put a different Hemi in it. It's the same. It's still a 6.4 with the stock intake, stock bottom end, no port work. This Hemi is it does have a stock cam, where the other one had a little bit of a camshaft and some good springs and rockers and a valve job. So I might lose a little bit, but I'm going to take the good Hemi and then stick that Torque Storm supercharger on it and get my Coronet going. So Mr. Haney's going to be just about what it was last year, maybe a tad slower, you know. And
but are you planning? Are you planning to bring the Coronet to Sikeston? Are you planning to bring the Coronet to Sikeston for 2024? If we're in Sikeston 2024.
Oh wow! It better be at Sikeston. I love that track. It's a perfect venue. Everything with the restaurant there. It's in the center of the country. I mean, you couldn't pick a better place to have it at. The people were great. The track facility was nice. I don't know if I'll do that. I mean, if I do, it'll be unpainted. You know, it'll have the paint job that's on there. But yeah, we'll have to see how we come along, you know.
Your idea of unpainted is nicer than any paint job I have, by the way.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I could, you know, schedule something that far away. We'll have to see. I can't promise that I will, which is nice because if not, I always got Haney, you know, and I actually thought about bringing the Power Wagon this year, but it's not. It doesn't have. It's got an open rear end, so it would never hook, and I would just basically be handing the race over to Joe again for free. So I don't want to do that.
So does that mean I won last year because you left and we didn't race?
I remember every time I pulled up, you'd pull off to the side and let me go ahead. So I don't know what was going on with that.
Man, I don't know. I'll just set at the line and have a bill. I'm actually have Dizzy Izzy hold a billboard for me. It says Joe's ready to race John Cope.
You know what I think you should do is have him tune your car.
Oh man, yeah.
That's what you need to do. You have him as your crew chief, checking your tires, or you can put him in the bikini and he could be your backup girl.
No.
That took about 3 minutes off the end of my life, man.
I almost wanted to bet if I win, then you got to run a Dizzy Izzy sticker also. Boom.
Oh.
That's like running a Biden sticker. Come on.
Well,
I got my Dizzy shirt right over there. Actually, I cut the sleeves off.
I will not try and take Dizzy from you. I know he's your chief mechanic and he's going to be checking your slicks and putting you in the water box and everything. So I'll make sure that he's there for you.
It's his home track, so he knows the sweet spots on it there.
You know, he's dyslexic, so don't forget to let him put your dial-in on the window for you.
Oh, man.
But speaking of dial-ins, I was going to say, I think I'm going to try to get back out in August sometime, probably later August or something, but I don't guess I'm going to show any more time slips until the event. I know that's kind of.
Come on. It can't be that embarrassing, is it?
You know, every time I show them, somebody says it should have a better 60 foot or better, you know, that car should be faster and all that. So
I know that's all we ever hear.
You know, I hate to put it all out now and then somebody feel bad and they'll think I'm too slow to call out. So if they need to call me out for whatever.
You know what? Like Ricky, you could leave on the bumper of that Duster and run a 470, and there's some guy on the internet somewhere that say, "Oh man, that car really ought to be quicker than that." I mean, there's just always somebody. It doesn't matter what you run. There's just always some guy. He's already got that comment ready before the car ever made the pass.
Right.
Yeah. Usually from someone who hasn't been down the track in their life.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the going to be a good race. Be a lot of fun.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
We got a lot of support for Joe in the chat. Auto Salvage Outlaw, Unfinished Project. They're saying my money's on Joe. We might see betting at the fence down there on this one. You never know. There's Red Light Ricky money in the mix, Polito money, Coat money, Speed Oasis money. We've got fence betting money, probably. You never know. We'll see what happens. What is this? Mike Iben is asking if your 8th mile time is in line with your 70-foot time. I'm assuming he means 60. He's a pretty straight-laced guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything's good right now.
Well, I mean, because Joe
what kind of tune is Dizzy putting on that thing there for you, Joe?
You know, we may maybe I'll have to swap cams or something before then. I don't know.
There you go.
I will say, because Joe did put this in his video last year. This is his last year. This was in the video. How the video is entitled, by the way, "How I Won the Bracket at the No Name Nationals," and this is where I got my trivia question from. So there you go.
And
they're September of 2022 numbers.
Right. I need to apologize to Ricky because he left me a good comment a while back. You want to tell him, Ricky?
Oh.
And I'll apologize right now.
He was for what you were out racing, and I think it was just a super hot day, so your tires you were spinning.
Man,
and
crazy.
I'm like, man, you should run the Hoosier drag radials like we do. And I'm like, we hardly ever have problems, if at all. He's like, yeah, I raced the guy once who had those, and this is the result. And he posted a link to the race the video I made of me in our one-on-one bracket race from last year when he beat me. So complete.
It was petty, man. I'm sorry. It's still funny, but it was.
That's funny. It was savage. Yeah, it was savage. Very savage.
I won't win a race this year. Y'all are stacking it all up against me. But
Ed is saying my money is on Joe against John Cope.
Oh
no! Ed named my car the Bracuda. I might have to put that on there somewhere. Bracuda.
Oh, interesting stuff. Any of you guys have anything for the panel? We've got Cope in here. Don't ruin Cope's Friday evening with a transmission question. This is so much fun without him. But you got anything fun? Because this the No Name Nationals is going to be fun. All of it's fun. We're just focusing on the Friday shenanigans in the bracket today. Mm-hmm. But we're going to have a live panel like this, similar to this, for the 28-10-5 small tire race 2 weeks from tonight. We've got another live that's going to be about safety, and it's going to be very interesting. That's going to be in a few weeks. So we're going to have more of these kind of lives now that I believe we have 7 live streams left after this one.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's coming fast.
It's how many weeks are left. That's right.
I haven't even been down the track yet, not once this year.
Ooh.
Sounds like
I made up for that.
Well, I only need one time run, and I'm ready to go.
Well, I got to say now, Haney really was consistent last year, though.
Yeah, and there was no attack. I was driving by the seat of my pants.
You and Andy were 100th apart driving that truck last year.
Yep. Raw talent, John. Raw.
By the way, I'm going to throw something out real quick. Max Wedge Dick Dastardly says, I cannot miss the No Name Nationals, even if spectacular. I will say this. Max Wedge Dick Dastardly is one of 13 channels still running in the No Name 500. There are 13 remaining. And I would love to see him get his 500 subs. So go check out his channel. If he earns your sub, consider subscribing. Love to see him there. He's a good dude. He's been in our community a long time, and I'd like to see him make his subscribers.
Yeah, he just mailed me a couple good stickers. One of them was a Pontiac sticker I need to give to somebody, but I don't know any Pontiac people, I guess.
He says spectator, but either way, it works.
Mhm.
Now, what is this? What's this all about? So, Joe, fill us in on this comment by Auto Salvage Outlaws here. We can all go to George Ray's and find that Mustang that gave Joe a headache.
Yeah, my first pass into my video from Tuesday, I guess I think it was a time trial, but I raced a Mustang and he ran like a 7:01 to my 7:15 or something. But my reaction time was so bad that he beat me by a school bus.
Ooh.
So it is what it is.
So one thing I'm going to mention, Kim's on the Buffdale Campo racing team. Buffdale Campo is also part of the No Name 500. Buff is still better than 400 subscribers away from 500 subscribers. So check out Buff's channel. He's got a lot of neat stuff over there. And check that out. And if you want to see the full list, as Unfinished Project says, they're all on my channel. But there are only 13 remaining still running. The rest have all graduated.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a question from Jabo. We're gonna put this up for anybody but Cope, unless he wants it. Does the Mitsubishi-based Dodge D50 904 base transmission have the low gear set?
I didn't even know they put one of those in those D50s.
I don't think they made a standard gear set after 81.
I agree.
I think they were all low. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's got the guts that are the size of the Neon. They were special and they were scaled down a little bit.
I saw that D50 on one of his videos in his yard.
Was that the lawnmower battery one?
I think it was. I remember seeing the truck because I sponsored a D50 for quite some time, and the truck is sitting over there in the junkyard now.
Now, Frank Park says, I'll pay any other Mopar driver that beats Joe and has champion plugs. Pull the set of 8 champions in the pits to prove it, and I'll pay $100 cash bonus for the win.
There you go. Ricky, be sure and put some in.
Frank, are you going to be at the No Name Nationals? We'd love to see you there. Are you going to be there? Because I'm going to take a snapshot of that for myself. Mm-hmm. And all right, we'll see it.
I got
Frank, are you going to be there? I hope so. Smoke Wrench Garage. When y'all let the air out of your front tires to help with more rollout, did it hurt your overall time, or was there no difference? Asking for a friend.
I didn't see any time difference.
Yeah, no. we didn't slow down any.
It really did help the reaction time to slow it down, but I didn't lose any mile an hour or
ET. Yeah.
ET. No.
I had some guys saying, air them up, get them tight as you can. And I tried that 10 years ago, and the car, the front skinny tires slid through the beams, and I red lit. And I
sure.
Like,
yeah,
it wasn't worth me trying, to squeeze 1,000th of a second or something there,
Yeah, well, the problem I was having last year with the light, I needed to slow down my reaction a little bit, and because they were pumped up to like 40 pounds or something, and it went down to like 28, I think, at its lowest, and that helped, I would say, a lot of the problem. But if you need to do that, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Max Wedge Dick Dastardly has a question for Joe. Are you putting champion plugs in?
I would rather run 7 NGK plugs than 8 champions.
Wow. We've been running Autolites in ours.
There you go. Those are good.
I'm an Autolite guy myself, too.
I guess maybe I'm behind the curve here. Why are champions bad?
Quit that.
Champion plugs are for your lawnmower.
Mm-hmm.
No, back in the day we used to run them, but I mean, when I was in high school, we ran champion. But...
I remember the big block plug in my lawnmower was the same plug JY9.
Wow. Yep.
We run the cheap $2 Autolite.
They're good plug. Copper, probably.
Yep, copper, just cheapest ones they got. Because we were eating plugs our first year. We figured that out, but we went through a lot of plugs. Now we're on the same set for the whole season so far.
Yeah.
Got that straightened out.
Got a lot of folks here that are on the same side of this with Joe.
I just saw there's an Engine Masters episode they did with different spark plugs, whatever, but like Freiberger, he bragged on NGKs because you can quickly see the heat range and see the strap and everything. Like in a pass, it burns right in. And they have so many different heat ranges. Like that'd been a good question for Shane, since he has a million hours of R&D stuff that,
Yeah, it would have.
Danny Boyd says Motorcraft in his Fords. Although I put Denso's in one.
I run NGKs in the Fiesta.
There you go. Yeah, I think they're good for boost and all that too, right? So.
Yeah, they're the step holder.
Frank says you learned how to tune. Well, give you that. 38 runs Autolites. Motorcraft plugs are going in ASO's car. Danny Boyd likes the NGK and the Densos. 38 POS Racing likes the Autolite. I'll tell you, whenever you ask a group of car guys what their favorite brand of spark plug is, none of them don't have an opinion. You know?
It's like carburetor. What's your carburetor?
Well, yeah.
Me and Max Wedge we could say two Edelbrocks or two Carters right in front of each other, side by side, kind of like this.
So Bigfoots and Mopars here. Mark is saying, I made one pass last year with one cylinder unplugged and ran a 720.
I was going to tell you, so he and I have talked about racing, and I thought about making a grand spectacle of getting out of my car and setting the nitrous bottle on the line to prove to the world that I'm not going to run it against him, because I don't want him saying he had to have nitrous to outrun my, 4,000-pound old blue sedan out here. That's what he,
Well, Charger 383 Mopar William here. He runs Champion. So I will say this. Champion at least can win the burnout competition. It has done that. For those of you who have not seen it, this is the top of the trophy for the burnout competition. This is actual rubber from Williams tires that won the burnout competition. Yeah.
Thank you.
William wants to win it back. He wants to win it again. So we'll see.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh, man. William has champion plugs and a demon carb. Oh, man. Good for you. A demon carb. Wow.
We got one of those.
That's like a dumbbell. Those things are so heavy.
Well, you're not wrong there.
Oh, ours works pretty good.
How's that weather by you guys? Because it's on our way to Chicago here.
Okay, it blew over. It's calm out there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty rough for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on its way here. We're supposed to get it, I don't know, in like 2 or 3 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, but I don't think it's going to be terrible.
Right.
I don't know if we got any hail. I'll have to check.
I don't think we did. I think we would have heard it if we had hail.
I was going to show this. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. And I'll be one of those people that holds their phone up to the screen. See those?
Your high temperatures?
106.
Over 100.
106, 101. Like,
Wow.
That's not racing.
Yeah, I'm an electrician, so I've been working outside all week in the heat. It's been pretty rough. We started work a little bit earlier just to beat a little bit of heat in the afternoon, but not fun.
Yeah. I saw John Cope has an opening for a transmission guy.
We do.
See, I need to move on up and learn the trade.
Yeah,
I'll
move
sell
up
you.
here.
I'll sell you the whole joint, Joe.
I would just I'd have to keep the name and then just sell Chevy transmission parts out of there. I guess.
I don't care. That'd be great.
Cope Chevy transmission supply.
Yeah, they fit good in your CUDA.
There you go. Slide right
Well, it
in.
looks like William fragged the speedometer in the burnout competition. And Kim is saying they need a 350 or 500 Holly for Buff's car, if anyone has a good spare to part with. And Ron G, since Cope is we're trying to help him avoid transmission questions on a Friday. Ron, so I'll just assume he means me. Is a low gear 904 preferred in a street strip 11-second type of car? Yes. How about that?
What time?
Thumper's saying he grew up with 100-degree summers, and now he lives practically on the North Pole.
I think so.
Tony'd like to work for you, Cope. He would
We
probably
would get
even
no
leave.
income.
He would probably even leave his phone by the time clock.
Tony's a great guy. Me and him at No Name Nationals, we were probably up till 2 a.m. sitting around the campfire talking about cars and politics and America and everything else. It was a great time.
Well, guys, I
All
think
right,
we're gonna be
guys.
hopping off. We gotta
we
get
got
down.
3 minutes left. If
Oh,
anybody has
okay.
anything left, I was gonna say we're at the time has
Okay.
flown by. We're
Yeah,
3
yeah,
minutes to go. If anybody has anything last minute, get it. I'm gonna plug something real quick for the chat. So obviously this live, we had all of our guys discussing the bracket and the various bounties and such. August 4th, I'm going to have Lake Speed Junior. So we'll be talking about oil technology, coatings, piston rings, and all that kind of good stuff. August 11th, we're going to have another panel like this with the small tire heads up instant green racers. So the 28-10-5, that'll be August 11th. And then I'm planning to have a live with people talking about some safety things. Not passing tech, but they're talking about hands-on experience, race car safety stuff on August 25th. More to come on that. So that's some upcoming lives that we've got. Yeah, Danny Boyd says, man, this went fast. Well, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
So Charger 383 Bopar is asking, is there any way we can see the tech rules? Yes, the AHRA rule book. If you go to ahraonline.com, there's a link to the rule book right there. And we're going to be having Deke Denny on to have a live to talk about passing tech, what you need to know, bring your questions. I'll let you know when we're going to do it. So that will be one of the weeks in the next few weeks. Because like I said, there's only seven Friday night lives before the No Name Nationals. So it'll be in there somewhere.
Coming up fast.
Yep.
We'll try to be ready.
All right, guys. And I'll leave the last question here from Blake. Blake's asking Joe. Joe, if he has his pink pants ready.
They're ironed and everything. So.
Are those corduroy?
All right. What's that?
I said, were those corduroy?
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
All right, guys. With that, it's been a blast. Thanks for coming out. Hope to see you on another live every Friday, and then we'll see. I've been an interim guest host on the Tech Talk Wednesday, so I may see you over there. But I'll definitely see you again this next Friday. We're going to have Lake Speed Junior on August 4th. I'll see you guys then. Thanks for coming
having
out.
us.
Thanks for having us.
Have a good night, everybody.
Fun.
See ya.
Good night.